Today, we're talking about Need for Speed and updates. Welcome back to Need for Speed Heat. Hopefully, you're enjoying playing through the game. I know a lot of you have already completed the game like myself. And obviously, you want to see more of the game. You want to play more of the game. You want more to do, more things to see, more things to play. Well, that's what this video is all about. We're talking about updates. Now, I'm going to jump straight in and discuss what we're talking about in the title, because I could talk about what I want to see in updates. We've already spoken about that before in a previous video. So let's dive right in. When is the update coming? So I decided to make some fancy graphs for you and kind of get an idea of how to predict when the update is coming. Now, we've already had an update, that is true, but it's not really an update per se. It was mostly bug fixes. Now, that's generally what happens with games. You'll see this as we go through this list. 39 days for its first update, which was Speedcross, which technically I would say is not really an update because it was kind of planned DLC. It had to come out on that day. So in that case, it took them 94 days to release Free Roam. I remember when that was announced. It was a glorious day back in the day. Forza Horizon 4, on the other hand, the route creator, which was something that was removed from the game at launch, again, not really an update, 25 days it took. Then we had a multi-material color picker, which was 53 days, and Fortune Island, which was 76 days. Now, Fortune Island, again, is kind of different because it's not really an update, it's a DLC. So the one that I'm kind of sticking with mostly, Free For All Adventure, which also added Mitsubishi back, and that was on the 15th of January, 109 days. The Crew 2 is something close to my heart. 89 days is what it took to release the first update, which was interesting. They released the update and then they thought, actually, no, people didn't like that. So they made what people were requesting, and that took 159 days. So what does all of this mean? It seems that we've got a good balance, a good figure to figure out when the update is likely to appear. And that would all but point to this month. If Need for Speed Heat was to release an update this month on the 31st of January, is that actually a date? I should probably check that. On the 31st of January, that would mean it had been 84 days since the launch of the game that an update has been released, which, if we compare it to the actual sensical updates of the previous games we spoke about, it would pretty much line up to be right. In fact, it could go on a little bit longer. And quite frankly, I would love it if the update was sooner than that. Of course, we've not really heard anything from Ghost. At least in Need for Speed Payback, we got to hear about the update, then what was coming, what was planned. We got the abandoned vehicles and a bunch of other things added on that meant that each week we would have something new to play with. And I think that's pretty obvious that they need something like that. Something that got dug up by my friend G-Zilla, the Need for Speed modern aficionado. He discovered this right here, which gives us an idea of what we could possibly see update-wise in Need for Speed. Seasons, just like you've seen the other non-racing games doing, twisting and changing the game a little bit. Can you imagine? Need for Speed, all of a sudden the city gets bombed by some crazy maniac and the city's gone. No, I can't see that myself. But quite frankly, in the future, I think that would be quite interesting. Something that changes in the game that's different every time you log on. Some kind of event where everyone gets to watch it together. That type of experience. I am actually jealous of last year's Fortnite updates. I'm not expecting anything like that on a racing game anytime soon, but quite frankly, I am very intrigued, and I think that would be super fun to watch. If we look at the Crew 2, for example, if we look at Forza Horizon 4, they've all got that summit style thing. Even the Crew 1 had a summit style thing. Even Horizon 3 had these Forzathon challenges. Do you remember? Yes, it had those that added new content, or not content, but things for us to do to unlock some vehicles. This is all pointing down to the fact that Need for Speed really needs something like this, in my opinion. What I would say is, this is for all games, this video from this point on, because it's kind of, this is something I want to see more developers do better. The Crew had a very good roadmap laid out. Of course, now it's died down a bit. The game's been out the longest of the bunch, but we're still expecting to see a couple more updates for the game, which is great. Forza Horizon 4, still getting updates, and I mostly think that's because there's no Forza last year, so they're kind of filling in the void, and I'm not sure updates will last this long in future Forza games, but it's good to see that they're testing and at least trying to see what it's like. Games need to update every month. Now, I know that sounds extremely demanding, but hear me out here. What I want to see is small updates every month. And by small updates, I'm talking what Forza Horizon 4 is doing. There's no real content added in these updates. In fact, the races aren't even changed on these, which is something that I have an issue with. Each month, release an update that introduces a whole bunch of content. I'm talking 4 main events or 4 main things that change. For example, the festival playlist, the summit, which was the originator, and of course in Need for Speed, I want to see that in a bit more of an extreme. I want to see them take the formula that is very, very not perfected, but good, take it and make it their own. Make it to the extreme. Take it to the extreme. I have a playlist that gives you a lot of money that as soon as you jump in, you get pulled in to not speed lists, because I honestly couldn't care less. What I want to see is taking down cash trucks together in the free roam in a session, giving us rewards for doing so. Parts, money, customization parts, whatever that may be. You don't even have to add new things, maybe just neon. Abandoned car and escape, just like we saw in the last game. That was great. The cops are better this time. Why is this not a thing? Set free roam challenges for us to complete. In fact, free roam challenges with a solo and multiplayer. And the idea would be each week this type of thing would be changing. Takeover, sort of like Skate, I think it's called, in where you have to like grind on certain things, you own that object. Do you remember that game mode? Well, I want to see that for the districts, going through the speed traps, and that area lights up your color. And of course, cops versus robbers. The cop cars are in the game. Let people drive them. Cops versus... That would be super easy. Content like this that could be remixed even. I don't understand why this has not been thought of. Take these types of game modes, and each week a playlist will appear with that one particular game mode from an update that was in the month. Twist and change things. People enjoyed playing cops and robbers that month. Well, how about we take it, remix it, so the cops use faster cars, or they can choose different cars, the different type of cop cars. They can play with whatever the hell they want. Tweak these things slightly and see what you can come up with. Some really cool creative game modes that, if they do really well, save them and make it a permanent game mode. I don't want you to think that's all I want to see. I do obviously want to see the bigger updates, which I think is where we then fill in every 3 months, 2 to 3, let's say 3, gives you plenty of time to make a significant update, in my view. That monthly stuff keeps people coming back to the game, keeps them interested, intrigued, including DLC practices, ignoring DLC cars and the like, because that should just be obvious. There should be DLC cars. Everyone is willing to pay for DLC cars. It just makes sense. For the rules, you can make it so that cops are included on the cops and robbers. The AI cops can get involved or not. Slight tweaks like that could be really different experience. Forcing certain car classes to do these things. There are so many areas around the map that haven't been used, and that is something that got me really upset about Need for Speed Payback. There were some fantastic areas in that, but they were never used. To me, the content of big updates is where it's pretty damn obvious too. I want to see PvP. We already made a video about this. Demonstrate. It took me a decent while to make this video. Please go and check it out if you haven't already. It's going through PvP as it should be on Need for Speed. This makes so much sense. It should be more like 2012, because that, in my opinion, was the best multiplayer that Need for Speed has done. I want to have burnout style challenges with rewards. I want an auction house, or the ability to trade vehicles. There needs to be more to do at night. Increase the level cap. Something simple. There are many, many different variations of what people would like to see themselves personally. And, you know, this is the comment section to do it, so let me know down in the comments your opinions on what you want to see. But I hope that helps you understand a little bit more where my view is in terms of updates. I think in the next 2 months we need an update. We're not really close to the danger zone, but if an update comes out this month or next, I think we're pretty all right. I don't know about you, but my beautiful, sexy looking graph, I don't think got enough screen time, so that's exactly what I'm showing you here. So this graph, obviously, it's my personal preference in terms of updates, but also a little bit mix of things that were planned. If you look at the key in the corner, basically, if the DLC was already stated to be, we're working on it still, it's not come out until after launch. For example, the root editor, that's why it's in the red and the pinkish, is because they had that plan. They were working on the update probably before the thing came out, or they said they were working on it before the game came out. But also updates that consist mostly of bug fixes, because realistically, although they, yes, technically, by description, are updates, I wouldn't really necessarily call them content updates, which is my main point here. Content updates. Obviously, the Crew 2 took a little bit more time to develop its updates and had bigger updates, but everything else seems to be a bit more frequent, I would say, with smaller stuff. Be sure to smash that like button, my friend. Subscribe if you are new, and if you are new, welcome. You're in the right place for Need for Speed Heat. Until next time, my friends, peace.